much.
Yes. And then as far as the third misconception, job history is always kind of a tricky question for a first-time buyer. And specific to first-time buyers, most of them think that they've got to be on the existing job for at least 2 years or more. That's not entirely true. So a few things to consider as a first-time buyer. You do need a 2-year job history. However, full-time student history can supplement for job history. So for example, if you're in a professional career now with maybe 6 to 12 months on that job, but prior to this position you were a full-time student earning your degree, copies of those student transcripts can supplement that 2-year job history, and you could actually qualify with you only having 6 to 12 months on the existing job. The other question that comes up is related to job changes. So first-time buyers also think sometimes you need to be on the existing job with your present employer for 2 years. And technically speaking, you have to have a 2-year job history, and as long as you were in a W-2 paying position, earning a base salary or hourly wage, you can qualify with job changes in that 2 years as long as there was no major job gaps during that 2-year period. So again, another question to have with your lender at the time of pre-approval.
Awesome. And we had talked about, down payment being a misconception, and then obviously job history, and then I think you wanted to talk about credit as well.
Yes, thank you. Credit history is a bit of a double-edged sword. This day and age, what we run into sometimes as complications is folks may not have enough credit history. And that's becoming a bit more of an obstacle to work around. And the reason that's kind of complicated for buyers is you have to have some credit history established just to simply generate a FICO score. If there's no FICO score for an applicant, it gets a little bit more complicated on the underwriting process. And as it stands today for an FHA loan, those loans can be manually underwritten without a FICO score. If it's a conventional loan, it does require right now that there is an automated loan approval from either Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac on their automated software. The other complication too that folks run into is maybe if they had a credit hiccup in the past. Say for example, a first-time buyer opened a credit card and maybe they had some delinquency on that card, and they've since paid the card, closed it out, and they haven't reestablished any other credit. That too can be a complicating factor because then they just have this past credit account really anchoring down their FICO score without much movement for improvement. So the critical thing I think for any buyer is if you're looking at your own FICO score through any type of tool that would be available to a consumer, if you see that score is under 680, you probably want to have a lender look at that report with you and identify if there's complications looming that could really hinder your home buying process. There may or may not be complications because again, many loan programs will go down to FICO scores at 620, some even down to 6.